Hello and welcome to the Comicspairacy, episode 536 for the week of February 28th, 2022. My name is Ryan Higgins. Who's here this week with me?
Brock Sager.
Kevin.
And Charlie.
There it is. There it is.
Yes.
Bit of a delay there.
Oh, that'll get cut out. That'll get cut out when you do the processing quick.
And Charlie. Hey, we got a lot to talk about. We're gonna jump into it.
So we have a lot more to talk about JLA Avengers.
We have 2 weeks worth of stuff to talk about because we got some ComicsPro. I didn't even think about it. Of course, next week will be our Batman review episode. It should be most, if not all, the podcast. We'll see what happens. It is.
Hold on. You're saying that a DC movie with Batman in it is not going to be talked about for the entire duration and matching of the
time stamping so I can remove all this. Yes, we're going to talk about Batman next week. Of course, we're going to talk about Batman next week. I'm just not prepared for Batman to be out in like
2 days.
What is like 2 days, 3 days?
2 days.
It just feels like it's not time. Is it me? I don't know.
No, it feels like it's a month away.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's so weird. I don't know. I'm very confused that there's a Batman movie out in a couple days.
See, we're in the end pandemic times now, and other shit's going on.
Yeah, it just feels like it kind of snuck up about March. I feel like when things are at the beginning of the month, I'm like, oh, that's in March. That's a long time from now. Oh, that's tomorrow. So like, I feel like I'm not prepared for March yet.
It's also, I mean, I didn't really think about this before, but it is a kind of weird time to release what would be considered a blockbuster movie.
Yeah, I mean, this would normally be like their May, June, July movie, right?
Yeah. Blockbusters are year round now, guys. It's not
great.
It's not May. April, May starts blockbuster season. Blockbuster season starts.
I still would have a hard time picturing like Spider-Man not coming out in the summer or Christmas time.
No, there's definitely peak times to do it for.
Yeah.
Like you want they release them at those times because more people are off and have extra.
How is Batman not a peak time release? Is my point. Like,
yeah,
well, they want to get it out, I think, because Warner Brothers hasn't had anything since what, Suicide Squad.
Warner Brothers makes more than DC movies.
Yeah.
Oh, I know, but like DC related movie, it's Suicide Squad.
And this was done. I mean, I think there's just a lot in the back half of the year. You know, this has been in production longer, it feels like. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they were going for that February 14th time slot, but it was taken.
We'll talk all about Batman next week. No need to talk about Batman this week. Although I'm sure we'll talk about Batman in some fashion this week because it is Batman. We always talk about Batman. We're gonna talk Peacemaker finale at the end of the podcast here. So if you have not seen it or you're just waiting for that, we don't want to spoil people. So we'll talk about that. We get a random bunch of stuff to talk about and lead up to that though. Let's get to it.
Let's dive right in.
Here. Hold on. Yeah, get my notes.
What do we got?
Now I'm glad Kevin's here because this was a comic made for Kevin Sharp of all of us. This is a comic made for Kevin Sharp, and that is a Tom King and Jorge Fornes. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Yeah.
Danger Street Black Label series, based on the 13 issue series / miniseries / experimental mid-70s DC first issue special series of comics. We'll kind of do a full explanation here in a second. But Kevin, I feel like these are right up your alley.
Well, this is that. Was it actually a series? Because my memory is that was just a first issue special.
The quote was, I looked this up, and there's an interview, and then there's a quote on Wikipedia about it, about Jerry Conway explaining the series origin. It was a concept based on Carmine Infantino's observation that the first issues of titles sold better than subsequent issues. Carmine's Brainstorm, a monthly series of nothing but first issues.
Right.
It sounded like a joke, but he was dead serious.
Yeah, but I don't remember Dingbats ever going past that. I think that...
No, they weren't.
I see what you're saying. I thought you meant that Dingbats of Danger Street was a 13-issue series in the 70s, and I was like, what the...
No. It was 13. It was a 13 one-shots.
Yes, first issue special.
That had
it was that DC
existing characters.
Issue, that thing that splashed.
It also had that Kirby Manhunter.
Right. So it had existing characters like Dr. Fate and New Gods and
didn't they do the Green Team was from first issue special also.
Yeah. So but many of them were original characters. So I believe Atlas was, right? At that
time, yeah.
Yeah, Jack Kirby wrote Atlas, which came back. He was in Superman.
He was in the James Robinson, right? The James Robinson run.
Yep. So they brought that back. Green Team, which who is that? That was Joe Simon. Gail Simone did a Green Team miniseries that was New 52.
Yeah, that was that one. Yeah.
There was a Metamorpho book. Manhunter, Creeper, Warlord, Dr. Fate. The new version of Starman, that's the Mikhail, the blue one, right?
Yeah.
That James Robinson used, created by Jerry Conway. But the ones that I love are there's Lady Cop, who's Robert Kanigher, and Vince Coletta. Dingbats of Danger Street again. This is a wacky Jack Kirby.
Wait, hold on! Don't say too much. I want to see if I can get this quiz right about Dingbats. Okay. So there are 4 of them on the cover. If I'm without looking, there's a cover and they're like up against a fence or a wall, something like that. Yep. Okay.
Yep.
Brock, I don't know if you have this in front of you. I'm going to try to do this off. I'm talking about a fuzzy memory here, so there's no money riding on this at all. No bragging rights. I'm going to try to name the 4 members of the Dingbats of Danger Street.
All right, hold on.
I got it here.
Oh, do you have it? Okay.
I got it. I could not have told you this. I could not. There's no fucking way.
One of them is called good looking or handsome or something like that.
Good looks. We'll let it slide. Good looks. Okay.
Okay. One of them is called Banana, I think.
Bananas with a plural.
Yeah. It's one guy's. Okay. One of them has the name Fat in his name, and I don't know if he's called Fat or Fatty or. Am I close on this?
Non-fat,
yes.
Because he's skinny. He's very skinny.
Okay. And then the last one I'm sure of is named Crunch.
Yep.
But I don't know if it's a K or a C.
It's a K.
Yeah, it's a K.
Okay.
So this to me,
credit off that quiz. Partial credit.
To me, this feels like Kirby was like, yeah, remember the Newsboy Legion? I could do that again.
Yes.
It's got that same sort of street kid.
Yep.
Wandering New York City kind of, street punk. I like what an odd concept. It was Codename Assassin. That's Jerry Conway as well. And they brought him. I feel like he's been in stuff too. I think he came back. They brought him back in the new Krypton stuff. Yeah, so he came back in some stuff fairly recently. And the Outsiders, but not the Outsiders. It's a different thing. Yeah. So this is such an odd series. I love these books, though.
There's a legit. I mean, they all have their kitsch and their comedy value. There is a legit, really good one out of that, which is the Walt Simonson Dr. Fate.
Mm-hmm.
The art in that is so good. There's my random pick of the week. It's first issue special, Dr. Fate, and it's just a one-shot. And Simonson, this is Manhunter era Simonson. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Ryan, you're referring to Crunch, who appeared in that Challengers of the Unknown miniseries by Scott Snyder. He was one of the characters in that Scott Snyder.
In the what?
The Scott Snyder Challengers of the Unknown series from 2018.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, he's in. Crunch is in that as a member of the new Challengers.
Oh, geez. Yeah, I remember that.
Wow.
But they did release a collection of the specials last year. Or years ago,
it was the whole series. Yeah. I love Lady Cop. I think it's just such a funny that was always one of those that when I see them in back issue bins, I'm like, God, I'm surprised I haven't done something with this. It's just such a funny concept. But getting back to what the series is, Tom King basically said, I can make this work as something. So Danger Street is going to be a team up of all these characters.
Wait, all the characters from first issue special?
Yes. Yeah. So that's what this is. That's what this is. Right. Yeah. So they let's see. Like they're trying. I'll quote here. Joining the Justice League is a goal for any superhero, but what happens when a quest for membership takes a sinister turn? Join Starman, Morpho, and Warlord as they look to prove themselves worthy by summoning and defeating Darkseid in battle. But it's all the other characters are in there as well. So I am really excited for this. Just so random.
At this point, I love these characters. Like Tom King, it seems like at this point is just going, you know what? I'm just going to throw a dart, pull something random out. Like we're going to Mad Lib what my next book is, and I'll just do it.
Well, come on. Batman's great, but if you could do a Metamorpho Creeper Dr. Fate crossover, isn't that what you would do, right?
Absolutely, I would.
All I'm hearing is Outsiders. That's all I'm hearing.
So I'm very, very excited for this book.
I will say I would love it if they just started after the book's done. I just want to see what his pitch for the book was.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he seems to have some sort of free reign to take whatever random character he wants and do whatever. Dingbats of Danger Street or not. There's no HBO Max series planned for them anytime soon. So I'm sure. God, turn that Human Target series into a miniseries, into like an HBO Max miniseries or something. Oh my God, it's so good.
But I feel like in general, though. Like, yes, you're right. He has a lot of cachet with DC at this point, but I still feel like he has to at least email a pitch to an editor on what he's thinking for his next book.
Oh, sure. Of course.
And I just want a copy of all those emails for each of the series when the series is done. I want that as back matter in the book.
In your Absolute edition?
That'd be so funny.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm very excited for this book. I mean, every Tom King book I'm excited for, but this is, this should be good.
Well, I think what it is like,
I can only assume some of the pitches come back with the editor just writing back, who?
Well, I do. I do like the. I think it was the. I think it was the Comics Beat article that I grabbed for my. Just notes for this episode, and it was like, and in the thing, I don't know who wrote the article, but it was like this is apparently based on something called First Issue Special from DC, which is a comic I've never heard of and was published many years before I was born. I was like, yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
I normally see like the Creeper.
Maybe just don't say that in an article. Maybe just look it up first, and then you can pretend like you knew what it was. But First Issue Special, I mean, those books
they come in back issues all the time. Like they're just
If there were comics I used to see in quarter bins more than those, I can't tell you what they were.
Yeah.
I mean, they were that was just quarter bin fodder for years. And now it's the first appearance of a bunch of characters and, some pretty cool one-shot stories. So, I'm sure those are not cheap.
Will you have a first appearance Lady Cop up on the store wall?
Oh, God.
Would that be wall-worthy?
That's our first appearance. It's like one of like 3 appearances I think of that character until now, right? Until now. Moving on.
I totally want Ryan to just hunt down each of the first appearances of the character. I mean, Fate would be difficult, but I would love when this book comes out, him just have the wall books right above the new shelf.
Yeah.
Just the first appearance of all of his characters.
I want to know that Ryan's printer in the store is printing out a tag that says third appearance Lady Cop.
Yeah.
No, I want third mention of Lady Cop.
Yeah.
Last time Kevin and I were in the shop, we just had too much fun walking around looking at the little labels of the books, because it wasn't just enough to be like, here's Killing Joke. It was like mention of Killing Joke.
Oh, the Suicide Squad one, yeah.
Squad, yeah.
Is the first issue special of Warlord? Is that his first appearance?
I believe that is.
Oh, I totally didn't realize that. Because I'm just looking up copies on eBay now to see if any of, and none of them are expensive. But I didn't realize that was actually the first. That was the first appearance of Warlord. Huh. I should want that now. I love Warlord. Anyway.
Well, what I like is when you're looking these up, it's like Lady Cop is issue 4, Dingbats is issue 6, Warlord is issue 8, because these were all like it's the first issue special and then the number, but it's all first issue special.
Yes, that's the joke, that they're all number ones. So I'm surprised they haven't come back and done that again. I think that'd be a great anthology. We are going to move on. Dingbats of Danger Street is more than they've been talked about since
40 years.
Since the publication.
I want to track down this Lady Cop. That looks interesting.
Do have some sad news. Unfortunately, as I say every time, time keeps moving and older creators keep passing away. It's always very unfortunate. Tom Veitch, comic writer, longtime comic writer, indie guy, moved over, did some work for DC. But I think, especially for people probably roughly our age, most well known for Dark Empire, the first major Star Wars comic from Dark Horse Comics, and just completely reinvigorating the Star Wars franchise during. Maybe some of our younger listeners don't remember a time when nobody cared about Star Wars. That would be the late 80s and early 90s.
No. Everybody cared about Star Wars. They just weren't making as much shit.
No, nobody cared about Star Wars when this book came out. That's why they're like, we're just going to give this to Dark Horse to do stuff because nobody cares about Star Wars. There was nothing. There was no Star Wars stuff. Star Wars is dead. But Dark Empire was a huge book when it came out. The kind of the origin for Boba Fett's return, escaping from the Sarlacc pit, Han and Leia having a kid, all that stuff comes from Dark Empire. Obviously, now it's all part of the Legends line. But he did a lot of stuff. He worked on that. He did a bunch of the books in the Old Republic, Tales of the Jedi. So he had a long history with Star Wars comics. His start in the 70s and early 80s was indie stuff. Hey, he's Rick Veitch's brother, right?
Yeah.
Is that? Okay. Yeah.
Didn't Tom write Animal Man on the back end?
Morrison after
run.
Morrison.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, God.
Imagine you want to follow that.
Two brothers following Morrison and Moore on their masterclass first major titles.
Yep.
Because Rick Veitch followed Alan Moore on Swamp Thing.
That Rick Veitch run was incredible. It was so good. I know we're talking about Tom.
Yeah. Always super sad. He was 81. 80 says dies at 80. He was 80 years old. God, I did not know they were. I thought they were younger than that. I had no idea they were. He was 80 years old. Obviously not doing as much work today, but I think for anyone, if you're in your 40s and you're a Star Wars guy, Dark Empire. It is one of the biggest, best Star Wars comics ever made. It still holds up today. I wish Marvel would do like a nice, like oversized hardcover of just Dark Empire, because so gorgeous, such a great book.
So I know this doesn't help anybody who doesn't have it already, but they did do a really nice slipcase hardcover, like a Luke Skywalker hardcover that included Dark Empire at Dark.
From Marvel or Dark Horse did back in the day?
Dark Horse back in the day.
Yeah. Gorgeous book. So, sorry to hear about that. Always sad. Oh, what else we got? ComicsPro happened over the weekend, so we got quite a little bit of news from that. I'll burn through a few of these here. Exo Manowar. Wow, a lot of stuff is coming back from Valiant. But the big news is Exo Manowar is getting a relaunch by Becky Cloonan, Michael Conrad, and Liam Sharp doing the art, not just covers. I mean, he's doing interiors, which is pretty crazy. Yeah. That is a big launch for Valiant. I've found the modern Valiant has really slipped at our store when it launched, when they started it back up, like 8 years ago or whatever, 10 years ago.
8 years?
feels like it. It's like
I'll look it up.
2012. You don't have to look it up. It's okay, Brock.
No, we've got to be factual, man.
No, it's fine. No, this podcast is not about being factual. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Maybe it was 12 years ago. Maybe it was 14. Maybe it was 7. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. But what I'm going to say is sales haven't been great. I'm very happy that Valiant is doing a two-prong approach to try to relaunch some of their line. They've let a lot of these characters sit. Manowar, Bloodshot. They're doing a whole Shadow Man series. The current Shadow Man series is out, but they're going to do a big crossover. Shadow Man, a big event book. They're actually going to also start reissuing all their classic material in nice epic collection style releases. Obviously, that won't include Solar, Magnus, and Turok. At least I don't think it will. I would love for them to license those things back and release those collections. I don't know how you can release some of these comics without those characters because they're in a lot of these books. But they are going to start with Manowar, the original series. And they're doing nice collections of all this stuff. Very happy for that. And Exo and Shadow Man were my two favorites from the early Valiant stuff. So I'm like, they're really giving Exo a good creative team, a good boost. So we'll see where they go with that. Brock, when did the new Valiant form? Tell me. I know you looked it up. Just tell me.
10 years ago.
10. Okay, 2012.
Well, that's when they finally published. But the new
Exo was 2012.
Yeah, it's 2012 with Bloodshot, Archer, Armstrong, and Harbinger. Like, and I've read
Exo was their launch book.
It was those 4 titles. It was Exo.
Exo, and Exo.
Bloodshot, Harbinger, and Archer and Armstrong.
Yeah, because Exo Manowar was their launch.
And like I was reading them at the time; they were great, and I followed a lot of those books. But as of late, they've just been like they went to this 6-issue mini format, and during COVID, nothing came out.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of like they had a book. I was like, yeah, no, I subscribed and I was like, yeah, no, cancel. Like I don't know. Hopefully this brings it back, but
at ComicsPro, that's exactly what I told the people at Valiant. I said, I love the Valiant universe. When the stuff started off, it was good, but the random titles and 4-issue miniseries and relaunch after relaunch after relaunch, it just kills the momentum. Look, I understand books won't last forever, but you got to give me 18 issues. You got to give me 24 issues. You've got to give me 36 issues of Manowar. Like, you can't put out 2 issues of Bloodshot, relaunch it. Like, you've got to have something more long term. You can do your specials, your minis. You can do your new characters. Like, they're bringing back Punk Mambo, I think was the book. It was one of the Colin Bunn horror books.
Yeah.
You want to introduce new characters? I'm totally fine with that, right? And then so she's going to be in the Shadow Man little event book they're doing. Totally cool, right? But you've got to have your legacy characters. And I said the same thing to Marvel and DC when we've talked about this in the past. You've got to have your legacy characters actually in an ongoing book and a regular force in comics, because otherwise they're just too nobody. You've got to give people a reason to stick around and read the line or read as many books as possible.
Well, the Exo Manowar from 2012, it went to 50 issues.
It went for a long time.
It was really
that's what
solid.
I mean. It's great. And again, if you want to relaunch, I used to be a little bit more keep them on going forever. And that's just not the way comics work. They're going to end at some point. But
sizable runs is what you need.
You've got to go for a couple of years.
But Exo Manowar, I can't even remember I think the last one went maybe 8 issues. The one before that was maybe 10.
And then they take a year and a half break or something like that.
You're just kind of but the thing is, the story continues. It's the same story from 50 to that number. So it's why'd you even renumber? It's the same.
Yeah. They've got to do something, I think, to fix that. And this is not a problem with them. I mean, there's a lot of companies that do this, and I understand. You want to test something out, that's fine. But when you have an existing brand already, like something like Shadow Man or Exo Manowar or Harbinger, just do an ongoing book. You can let it rest for 6 months and then bring back with a new creative team. But but you've got to have more than like 5 issues planned for those characters. Punk Bombo 4-issue miniseries, fine, totally fine, but
yeah, you're bringing back a character that nobody's seen in a while. Like, was it Dr. Mirage? Was it Dr. Mirage?
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, you could start with something, but yeah, the big characters you need something more.
Yeah.
A couple more things from Boom here. What's that? From ComicsPro. Yeah, one of the big things from Boom, they've had a significant year for comics, and Something is Killing the Children has sold over 2 million copies worldwide since the book came out. That's a single. I'm assuming that's single issues and graphic novels. It doesn't say, but they said over 2 million copies of that book is sold, which is humongous. And Berserker, with only 7 issues out, has already sold 1 million. I sold almost 1 million copies.
Yep.
So those are humongous books. Boom has had just like year after growth year. So Boom's a good company, and they publish a lot of really good books. So I'm excited to see what they have coming this year. What was their Grimm, Stephanie Phillips, and Flaviano, I believe is the name of the artist. I'm excited for that book. That looks really cool. So it's like a Grim Reaper girl, her adventures. I'm excited. That looks neat. It looks very cool. So Boom always says a lot of big books. Where we go. And then one of the other big announcements, this actually happened like right prior to ComicsPro, but it was obviously one of the big parts of ComicsPro. We had the new creative team on Batman taking over. Josh Williamson was supposed to be a short run, and they're I think it actually got extended a little bit because of the crossover that they're doing. Yeah, Josh said he has many other books coming, including Batman related stuff. So this was always the intent was for him to just have a short run while they got the new creative team set up. And then new creative team is Chip Zdarsky and Jorge Jiménez will stick around. And Chip Zdarsky, man, that guy, what a couple of years he's having. I've loved him for years. I've loved him since I've read copies of Prison Funnies at Isotope Comics back years ago. No one was more shocked than me when he got hired to actually work for Marvel and then DC, just based on some of his early comic work. It's kind of like James Gunn working at Marvel. It's like, really? You know what this guy is? Okay, that's cool. You see something, that's neat. And they obviously have, because his the Batman stuff he's been doing between the Night
and the Justice League Last Ride.
The main Red Hood stories he's been doing in Batman Urban Legends have been fantastic. So I'm very excited for his run on Batman. Chip Zdarsky is a great writer, and we'll see where that goes. There's some cool preview art and everything that we're showing off at ComicsPro. Nothing major though. ComicsPro this year, there wasn't a lot. It's just a lot of setup, and obviously not being in person, it's not what it
usually is.
The announcements and what they've done at some of the other cons. Yeah, I feel like ComicsPro next year should be a little bit of a bigger deal. I'm actually going to try to go. If they do in Portland again, because I've actually never been to ComicsPro. I never go to these retailer meeting things. Yeah, I just never do. I'm excited. It sounds like DC maybe start doing the road shows again, which were super fun that they used to do. So when they've had them at like Comic-Con, or they've had them in like Texas or LA, Florida, like when they do the retailer meetings at the big conventions. So I'm super excited if they start doing those again. I'll try to get to one of those. They have something at WonderCon or San Diego or something.
You're just going for the swag bag.
Oh yeah, of course. You always go for the swag bag. And then they announce some stuff. Free food, free snacks. That's always cool. Of course, I cannot be remiss in the actual biggest news of the last 2 weeks, nay the year, nay the decade, nay the century.
They're finally coming up with those Miracle Man issues.
Maybe in all of creation, after what feels like a lifetime, we are getting the Marvel Legends Speedball action figure. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is finally happening. My time has arrived. I'm getting a Speedball action figure, an official licensed Speedball Marvel Legends figure. I'm pulling a Toby.
And buying a case?
I'm going to buy one to open, one to keep sealed, and of course, a third just in case.
Now,
that is the Toby method.
I want everybody to know
that is the Toby method. So
that Marshall, our coworker, had the best response to this news in that one of the figures in the case would be the Penance Chase figure. And
I am under my collection of Speedball ends at Civil War. Okay, like I do not acknowledge. I continue to get the New Warrior ongoing books.
Why?
Luckily, they canceled that last miniseries.
Yes, if you had to get #Snowflake, woof.
They published almost everything that got canceled because of COVID. They never published that, so we dodged a fucking bullet there. But my collection of all appearances of Speedball, of course, ends with Civil War, which is we just will not talk about the last 15 years of Speedball and the New Warriors. However, here's a problem though: great action figure, no balls. I got no balls. I mean, you got the little balls on his arms and the little bubbles and everything like that. Why aren't there a little pack of balls floating around or something? It's Speedball.
Buy a pack of Nerf balls for a Nerf gun.
Well, Nerf balls would be humongous. Nice. A little like.
Now the question is, does the action figure come with his pet cat?
No, no Niles cat, as far as I can tell. What I should do is like glue some like little they have those little like.
Foam?
I don't know. No, it's like a little tiny balls that are in like the bottom of like a fish tank or something like that. You know, like they look all globy. I should glue a bunch of those together.
So you're telling us you're just going to buy a case and then you're going to have a bunch that you're going to augment and make your own.
No, I'm going to create a little stand, a little thing that wraps around like his arm or something like that.
Yeah, if he gets this excited for a Marvel Select version of this, imagine Marvel Legends. If he gets excited for a Marvel Legends version, imagine how excited he would be if they actually did a hot toy.
I can't say they never would, but I would. I am curious about the world that must happen for there to be a Hot Toys Speedball figure. Again, I will buy 3.
Brock, aim higher, tweeter head.
Oh shit!
No, just prime one. Yeah. Just 5 feet tall Speedball versus Dark Speedball battle figure. I'm totally down with that. I will 100% also buy 3 of those. Again, one just in case.
So by the time any of this comes out, they'll have put out like 500 Wolverines and 700 Spider-Man.
That's what I mean. Like we've gotten 2 Nova. Okay, so New Warrior breakdown. We have 2 Novas. We have the classic, which was the Walmart exclusive, which is like the round helmet one. We have the modern, like kind of more angular one. Okay, done. Nova's fine. Nova's popular. He's fine. We got Night Thrasher, which I never thought we'd see, with a skateboard and everything. It's pretty amazing. We got Raid.
Did you get 3 of those?
Again. Nah, all these I just got 1. These were all fine. They're not Speedball. We got Firestar fairly recently. She was a standalone Marvel Legend figure. We got Darkhawk a couple years back.
Yes. Yeah, there was a Darkhawk.
So I need Justice. I need Silhouette. I need Namorita. We have Speedball coming. Am I missing anyone? I feel like that's everyone. That is like the major team. Now there's other characters, minor characters that will never happen. We're never going to get a Hindsight Lad figure. It's just never going to happen.
They've never done a Justice?
They've never done Justice and never done Namorita. I thought we'd get those before Speedball.
Yeah,
100%. Like Namorita is actually shocking. She's been around she's a Silver Age character. She's been around for a long fucking time. 1970 maybe, 69. Like she's been around for a long time.
She's definitely Sue Storm looking.
She's been in more books than any of these characters, short of Nova. She was in Submariner. She was in the John Byrne Nova series. She's been in Fantastic Four for years. Like she's legitimately a long-running Marvel character and is baffling. A fucking Blue Marvel's getting a figure, and we don't have a Namorita figure. That's bizarre. That's bizarre. Justice has been around for a long time, but not. I'm less surprised by that. Silhouettes, it's unlikely we'll get one of her anytime soon. I mean, I love it. She's a great character, but I feel like she's probably the least likely of all of these. Other than Hindsight Lad, or Cord, or Ty, or
this is the question.
Or what's the smile? Can we get a smiling tiger figure? He was in Falcon and Winter Soldier. Are we going to get a smiling tiger figure before we get?
This is what you have to do. You have to pick
Namorita.
The New Warriors build a set, and you have to give them a big villain to build.
Terrax would be the build a figure because he was the villain in the first issue. So there you go. There's your Terrax build a figure.
You just have to start pitching this.
Call me Marvel Legends. Call me. No, the actual big news. Is ComiXology. Now I'm not a regular user of ComiXology. I use it occasionally. But many years ago, if you may remember, we had a digital storefront that you could buy comic books from us. And we were one of the only stores that really used it, but we were told that they were taking down the digital storefront because it was going to be put into Marvel. It was going to be put into Amazon proper. The ComiXology was going to fold into Amazon. That was like, 4 years ago or something?
Yeah, it was like 2017. Yeah, it was like 5 years ago.
5 years ago. It was a long time ago. Yeah, that happened. And it never happened. I was like, well, what the fuck, ComiXology? I thought you were like going into be part of Kindle and be just in the Amazon thing, not a owned by Amazon, but separate function, right? So they finally did it. And they put ComiXology into the actual Kindle Amazon thing, and boy, are people not happy. They screwed it up probably the worst they possibly could have. There was, just dozens of articles, tweets by Patton Oswalt and a bunch of regular users of the program that said they've completely killed it. The featured books.
The best was ComiXology's like support page, just pumping out just like PR trying to put out a fire, and you're like, yeah, none of this stuff is like, you messed it up.
Yeah.
Like bad.
Now I'm going off some lists here. Some of this may have been fixed now. Some of this is going to be fixed in the future. So a lot of this obviously is going to happen. But at launch, stuff like new releases was not a thing that just showed up. It was a mix of stuff. Any of the copies that had DRM free downloads were deleted. That does not exist. So no more DRM free downloads. You are now 100% locked into Amazon. So you're not able to download a copy to use for other comic readers. Single issues on sale are no longer listed with the collections. So you have to go to the series to see if a single issue is on sale. So it wasn't broken down like a big sales page. You had to kind of go around to figure out, you have to kind of like browse through endless Amazon listings to find what's on sale.
They used to group them together. Like if they were having a sale on like Batman, all the Batman stuff was on sale, and it would mark it. So even if it was these random issues, you could be like, oh, I want that issue. And
I would link every week to the ComiXology sales, because they would have, it was ridiculous, the sales they would have, and we would sell thousands of comics through the sales feature. And get our cut on them. It was crazy. The filtering doesn't work.
They didn't. The cart disappeared.
They got rid of the filtering. I don't know how exactly that works.
There was something like you had to buy each individual comic. You couldn't load all these books in a cart and then purchase at one time. It was doing like single purchases at a time or something.
Yeah, I didn't I didn't see any of that stuff, so I didn't actually purchase anything, so I'm not sure how that worked.
This is just what I saw from like Patton Oswalt and a couple of people that were responding.
Some of the things I'm reading here on Comics Beat. So something like East of West, the graphic novels were all listed as one series, but the single issues are all 45 individual issues listed separately. So you had to like manually scroll through all of them. Just the library function was broken. Probably the most offensive thing was, I think like guided view wasn't working when it launched. I don't know if that's changed.
Well, guided view, they said guided view wasn't working, but then ComiXology said, no, it works. You just have to do this completely different thing that you didn't, like, to get into guided view now. And people are like, why did you change? It wasn't
I know they've removed things that have been downloaded, but to me, the absolute worst thing was on the, I don't remember if this was on Kindle or if this was on the website. I'm trying to see which version it was on. But the one that the thing that people had the most problems with over everything was the readability of anything that was a double page spread. Instead of having the double page spread over the 2 pages and being able to guide view through it, like you do if you've read a digital comic, you can kind of go like word balloon to word balloon and kind of go around. It just shoves it all into an unmovable, like, looks like widescreen, like black bars top and bottom, and it puts it into this tiny little unreadable box in the middle that you can't do anything with. So yeah, what an absolute mess. ComiXology had years to figure this stuff out, and they didn't.
Well, so, ComiXology had a solid. I mean, when they first launched, they had some issues. They listened to the feedback. They built the system. The system became kind of the standard, and then Amazon bought them. Amazon was like, "Okay, we're not doing anything. We're not doing anything. Now we're going to do all these changes," and then they didn't do anything. And then now they're like, "Okay, we're going to do all these changes to implement you into the Kindle family or whatever." And basically didn't listen to, I mean, if they asked anybody, they apparently didn't listen. And like, why would you take something that's not broken?
Yeah.
And
I think the biggest problems was on the web viewer. I'm pretty sure the Kindle app worked better, not perfect, but better. But the web viewer was completely broken.
I can tell you, I use the Kindle version, not the web version. So I can't comment on that at all. But just having logged in when this change was made, I just wanted to kind of close one eye and peek cautiously at the horror show. Mm-hmm. This was just one person's experience on a Kindle Fire. It's a new layout. It's one of those things where a company will redesign something because it feels like somebody's job was just to redesign, even if it didn't need to be done.
Right.
The things are all, at least in my experience, is what I was looking at. Everything is still there. It's just in different places and sometimes called by different things. You just go, why? Like, why change? And I did have to re-download everything. Nothing that I had purchased had disappeared. I just had to re-download things onto that device. Everything was still in the library.
If you were in the middle of an issue, did it remember that?
I don't know because I haven't tried reading anything.
Okay.
I will.
That is my because I use Marvel Unlimited to read through most of the Marvel stuff these days. Just because I used to take stuff from the store and have a little pile, and now I'm like, I'm just so far behind on some of these books. It's not even funny. So I was like, Marvel Unlimited works perfect. That's exactly what this is for. And I can't save. It doesn't save between the phone and the my Fire tablet. Like it doesn't save my position. It doesn't save the recently read stuff. Like it's like it's 2 separate logins. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like this didn't used to do this. So they broke something like a year back or something when they redesigned it. They did that redesign. It was like 9 months ago, a year ago or something, and it's just like broken ever since. I'm like, oh fuck this, I guess.
Well, I know
I did have to laugh when Amazon sent me a banner, a ComiXology banner that says Aquaman sale, check it out. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll click it. So they have the those deluxe hardcovers that from the last 3 years, maybe the old Jim Aparo stuff that's been reprinted in those deluxe hardcovers. And I want to say those hardcovers are maybe like $40 retail, something like that, if I'm remembering right. So the Amazon special sale that they had to ping and alert me to, you can get the e-version of this Aquaman book for $29.99.
Yeah.
Like, wow. That's some sweet bargains.
Yeah, before the retail price would be we said it was 50, right? So like the retail price on the ebook version would be like $24.99, and the sale price would be like $4.99 or something like that.
Yeah. I've bought so many digital comics that I haven't read that way.
Yeah.
Me too, Charlie.
I used to make my annual like Black Friday like ComiXology purchase of just random stuff that I was like, I like that. I just want a copy. Right, like
pretty sure those like $1.99 Marvel Epic sales are not coming back. So
I loaded up on that last one. I think it was in November, maybe.
They were like $1.99.
Masterworks. They had Masterworks and Epics.
Masterworks. Yeah.
Epics were like $5, and Masterworks were $1.99.
Yeah.
Anything I was even casually interested in reading, I'm just like, I'll throw $2 in the tin for that.
Yeah. I mean, look. I say this every time digital comics come up. It's an important part of the industry. It's, I'm sure it's growing in some markets. I regularly hear that it's not a major thing from publishers, that it's not, it's not, 90% of the industry is not digital comics.
It's the same as ebooks. Like ebooks is like steady at what it is. Like
ebooks, yeah. I mean, they have not taken over the book market. But a lot of people that don't have comic stores or don't have space, I totally understand digital comics being your preferred method, and all this does is cause people to read less comics. I think it was Bleeding Cool. I think they said they've heard from particular publishers that sales dropped last week or the last 2 weeks between 30 and 70% for their normal ComiXology sales, and that's just people can't access the stuff. Something new is fine if it's equivalent or better. If you've broken key features, removed, if you haven't gradually shifted to a new model, a hard reset to something completely new doesn't work with a lot of people, especially if the other one worked well enough. You can mimic those original features on a new platform. I'm sure you want it to look like Amazon and Kindle. That's fine. But you have to, this is something that I think, this is a Comic Hub thing that comes up regularly, is that when we've talked with the owners of Comic Hub about some of the UI, it is different because there is nothing like comics. You don't buy and subscribe and buy variant covers of shoes, like you don't go on Zappos or, you're not on Barnes and Noble, and it's just such a different thing. So there's comic books are such a unique item that e-commerce has to work within the existing system to a degree. It can't, you can't just roll comic books into Amazon. That doesn't work. You have to kind of do your own thing. But there's enough, I think ComiXology had enough success over the years. They should have maybe tried to more closely mimic their style.
Well, honestly, I'm just surprised they didn't do something to mitigate the damages better. Like, I'm surprised they didn't reinstitute the old system temporarily or something. The fact that they kind of, in terms of the PR, all the PR basically did was say, we acknowledge stuff is broken, we're working on it. They didn't really put a timetable in there. They didn't really hit stuff to the point where you solved anything really quickly, really. And like, to me, that's where this kind of falls apart. Like, there's a reason why most of the time when you release a new version of the software, you don't want to roll back, but you always technically have the ability to roll back if something catastrophic happens. And it's weird to me that they didn't go, maybe we need to roll this back and figure out a better transition plan.
Well, I remember I don't use ComiXology. I don't use ComiXology that often, but when I do, I'm like, I can log in and go, oh, they updated the user interface. Okay. All right, fine. Like, I'm used to it, right? Like, I'm not having this huge learning curve because it's just like, how would this gradually change to what it current used to be? Actually, I was talking to my roommate about this when it happened, and I was like, man, this is harkening back to the Winamp days, when Winamp like drastically changed and everyone was drastically trying to get the older version and not have an update. Remember that?
Winamp classic skin, baby.
Yeah, baby.
Classic skin.
Got to go classic on the Winamp.
Got to whip the llama's ass.
Yep. You should so put that sound effect in. Just,
old school, man. Old school. Listen to my listen to stuff I download on off Soul Seeker or whatever, Napster. Yeah, it's good times. What was I going to say? Yeah, that's ComiXology. Good luck if you still use it. Hopefully they fix it. Final bit of news before we get to Peacemaker. New DC animated movie coming up. I don't always talk about these, but I'm very, very, very excited for this because this is another one of the DC Showcase, which are other animated shorts. So they're going to have a main, kind of like I think this maybe it's a half an hour, which is Constantine, the House of Mystery, with Zatanna and a bunch of other characters. So very excited for that. But it also is going to have a Kamandi, the Last Boy on Earth short. And these shorts are usually like 15 minutes. They're not like 2 or 3 minutes. They're long shorts. Kamandi, The Losers, and Blue Beetle. So very excited for all that. And this is Ted Cord, Blue Beetle too. So,
well, speaking of Kamandi, I need to track down that Tom King issue.
And in the Blue Beetle one, he is teaming up with Captain Atom, the Question, and Nightshade. So this is a really Charlton. Grouping. Well, it's a Charlton book, so or short. So really excited for this. So I love these DC animated shorts. They've done a bunch of them in the past, and yeah, I'm super excited for this one. I've been slowly ripping my old all my Blu-rays and DVDs from my Plex server, and I've been doing a bunch of all the Batman shorts. All the shorts that were on the Batman Blu-rays. I ripped recently and went back and rewatched like the Death one. That one's cool.
Oh, so, I have to ask: have you guys still not? I know I've tried to bug Kevin into doing this a couple of times, but have you guys still not watched that Justice League Dark Apocalypse War one?
I'm way far back on the DC animated.
You're killing me.
Charlie, where's it streaming? HBO?
HBO Max.
All right. It's gonna be on HBO Max.
I am on it before the next podcast. I will have it watched. That's how seriously I take your recommendation. Mark it's now recorded.
It's. We've talked at length about a lot of the different like live action movies and a little bit about like the animated movies and stuff. The Apocalypse War is the animated movie that demands to be talked about the most.
Yeah.
Ooh, high praise from Charlie. Well, I might have to take a break from Horizon Forbidden West.
As I've been going through, my intent here is I love my Blu-rays. I'm always going to buy physical media for this stuff because I want to support the creators. I want to support the movies, and I want to actually have a copy in case it disappears from HBO Max or Netflix or whatever you have. That said, the act of putting a disc into a Blu-ray player and playing it is something I just, like most people, you just don't do anymore. You just turn on Netflix and, oh yeah, there's a thing to watch. So
I watched some DVDs like a month or two ago, man. Like
that is my entire goal here is to rip my collection and actually put all the special features in and put this on my Plex server and access to stuff and actually watch it. So I have an awesome Plex collection of my DC animated movies, currently at 42 movies. So, I mean, that includes the shorts as well, those kind of their own things. So, in chronological order, as you do. So, I will get through them. I'll get through them all. There's many I haven't seen. I didn't watch the Death and Reign of Superman, the redo of the Death of Superman one, because that first Death of Superman was not very good. That one I really want to watch. That's one.
Those are good.
And the Turtles crossover.
That was also good.
Yeah. Those are some of the ones I want to watch the most.
I don't know if the Turtle one ever made it on HBO Max because of the joint,
the licensing or whatever. Yeah. All right. Before we get out of here, we are going to take some time, talk Peacemaker. If anyone has not watched it, if you're still waiting for some reason, and it has been a few weeks, I know, but last week JLA Avengers took up last week's podcast. We'll probably talk a little bit more about that when it actually gets released and what we're going to do with the books and everything. But yeah, Peacemaker finale. We'll give you guys a second. I could type. Sorry, I typed my notes. Yeah. We will now discuss the Peacemaker finale. Who has not seen it? Everyone's watched it here. Yeah, you guys all watched it. Everyone, Charlie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Just make sure. I forgot to ask earlier. I usually ask beforehand. It's unreal. I mean, the two best comic book TV shows of all time are Watchmen and Peacemaker. Who would have guessed? Who would have fucking guessed? I never would have in a million years thought this is what would happen. The idea of like a Watchmen sequel TV show sounds horrible, and Peacemaker, like what? But boy, Peacemaker was great. It was so fun. And that finale, it was wonderful. I am not sure the last time I probably in a comic movie, I don't think I've ever laughed as hard as Activate Human Torpedo. Especially both times. It was very funny the first time because I kind of saw it coming, but the second time was very, very good. I almost wasn't sure. With Adebayo at the end there. Oh god, it was so good. It is very good. Peacemaker is a very good show. And what's funny too is the amount of like kind of non-comic ish fans, or like sort of, definitely not hardcore DC people I've talked to that are like, oh yeah, the show's great. Like I have no idea who any of these characters are, but this is wonderful. So I really like Peacemaker. I'll let you guys give some thoughts. Talk. We'll talk around the episode and hopes for season 2 as well.
Well, it already got confirmed for season 2.
Yeah, I mean, just what you want to see, or what they could do, what fun stuff they could do.
This is a little tough because I think we last talked about it after episode 3, if I remember.
Yeah, and feel free to hit up on.
No, I was just going to say I loved it after episode 3, and I had my fingers crossed that they'd stick the landing. And I love it after episode 6. I thought it was great. It's hard to, like, all it would just be is like a litany of, oh, here's moments that were great. There's no like thing to pick apart. There's nothing. It's just like a praise fest, at least for me. I mean, other people may have some. You could dig in on some nitpicks, perhaps. I just enjoyed the ride. I agreed with everything you just said. I thought it was a blast and totally unexpected out of the blue as like a character of like a Peacemaker vigilante buddy show. Like going in, I'd be like, okay, whatever, sure. I'm sure somebody will enjoy it somewhere, but I have zero interest. It was a complete surprise in the best way possible. Loved it.
Oh, like I've said on some of the previous episodes too, right? Vigilante actually had like legit ongoing series and shows up regularly enough. Peacemaker is not a character with any sort of defined personality or story. That Jeff Lemire Peacemaker backup is I think the most interesting thing they've done with the character to date. I thought it was just a cool little story.
The one shot was pretty good.
The Garth Ennis one. Yeah, I haven't read it yet. I should not have forgotten, but I did not. I was not remembering the multiversity issue with all the Charlton guys. Again, Peacemaker has very minor appearance in that, but he is in there too with a couple very cool scenes. But yeah, I mean, just again, he's not a character with any sort of legacy in the comics that there are legions of fans. Now there are, and if they go back and read those comics, they're gonna be like, what the hell is this? It's. I don't necessarily need to see Peacemaker in the comic emulate the show. I don't really want that. But the show being what it is was fantastic.
I mean, I enjoyed the show. Like it was, I think it was, it got back to just really enjoying something, right? It was infused with just, what can we do with these characters that, we kind of have a free reign with, right? John Cena filling the role of Peacemaker is just, it's perfect, right? And, everybody else that they got in the show worked well off of it. The show had great, funny moments. I think James Gunn has learned to pace the humor and not overdo it. and just do overdoing in the outtakes or at the end of the episode where you're just like, oh, okay, this ran on a lot longer than it should have, but they cut it down to what we needed. Yeah, and the last episode was just that all out, just have fun, great episode. I know why they kept it, didn't release it to people was obvious, but we can talk about that later.
Oh. Well, yeah. I mean, again, yeah. I mean, we're full spoilers here. The cameos at the end were fantastic. You know, I don't need every single person to show up, but having Flash and Aquaman was great, and let them
banter
and swear and be part of the show, and not this sort of like, you gotta sanitize this and keep this out there. Like, it's fine. It's very good.
Yeah, I think it just equates to, it was like Peacemaker was just a whole bunch of fun. Like when you kind of just let a creator just go and have a good time with something, and not limit it because of this. Well, this is their origin; they have to do it this way, or like Kevin's mentioned numerous times, the buddy whole cop thing with Peacemaker and Vigilante. I never even nobody saw that coming in a million years, but it works, right? And the characters are just so consistent in who they are that it makes for just a lot of great moments. So Charlie loved it.
Oh, yeah. No, I absolutely loved it. It's an interesting show because, so I watched all the episodes. I watched them all pretty much as soon as they were showing up on HBO Max. I didn't even hold off and wait. And like a lot of the comic book shows nowadays, like the ones on the CW and stuff, a lot of times I'm like, oh, I'm 4 or 5 episodes behind on this. I should catch up. But Peacemaker, I stayed up to date with every single week. But it was also one of those things where like I sat down and I watched the first episode with my wife, and she's like, yeah, you can watch that without me. Didn't really have any interest in continuing with the show. And
okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say Leanne was like 50-50 on it. She said some of the jokes that didn't really land for her, but she liked the show well enough. But I think the kind of toilet humor jokes are not going to work for everyone. Yeah. But I feel like they balanced it out very well with the real.
To me, this is, I guess the closest I can say is it does a very good job of sort of tapping into the DC comic book nerd in me, and also the person who likes Rick and Morty and some of the other Adult Swim content. Like, it was a perfect mesh of those where it's not quite one and not quite the other.
Mm-hmm.
And that worked really well. In fact, if you kind of want to talk about some of this stuff where obviously this felt like it could have been something done by Ennis and some of that stuff, but like I felt like it's still, like, one of my complaints about as Ennis got more and more popular is that nature to always try and push it too far. Mm-hmm. I felt like this took it just far enough with everything. Like it was that sweet spot for me.
Well, yeah, if it was just a bunch of dick jokes, that'd be one thing. But they, like I said, they had so many great character moments. The whole Diebeard, what do they call him?
Diebeard,
yeah. That whole scene in the very last episode, where he's talking to the butterfly about, why does your human dye his face like that? Like that was a more emotional scene than like 99% of the scenes in superhero movies where people on Twitter are like, I cried when character X died. It's like, no, you didn't. Nobody cried at that. There's nothing sad about any of the stuff. That was like a heart-wrenching scene.
Yeah.
So like
they had the moment with Hardcore and Peacemaker where she does the etching, and they kind of have that moment where, and like she says, isn't it just Chris, right? And you're just like, things like the picture and the nicknaming them the 11th Street Boys, right? Like there's all these little moments in there that just add to depth to all of the characters. But yeah, it's really, you can be as ridiculous as all hell, but like you kind of have to come back to a grounded spot, and I think that's what the show did. Like it had this,
Yep.
It would deviate, but it would come back and ground itself, and right. Oh, Eagly will be able to fly the helmet over there. Eagle's not going to be able to do that shit. Like, we all knew it. We're all sitting there watching it going, he's not going to... And he didn't do it. Like, so...
Yep, it was a great mix of tones all the way through that never... Like, anytime it was tilting too heavily into one direction, he swerved it right back to another. Just like a master conductor playing a symphony of all the different instruments working together. So you get a horn section, you get a string section, you get all these things that get to stand on their own and be highlighted, but then also recede back into the larger picture.
Yep.
And I thought it was just, I mean, I don't know. We're running out of ways to say I love it.
Maybe the Batman will be horrible and we can sit around bitching about it for 3 hours.
We need some disagreement on this show, damn it.
We need some bad shows to start happening and bad comic movies to start happening.
The soundtrack was really great. It was fun, right?
Oh, soundtrack was fucking amazing.
Amazing.
Right?
I'm never gonna claim to be the biggest fan of like Hanoi Rocks and all like the 70s, 80s, like
big hair rock bands.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Like hair metal stuff I like, but these guys are like the God. There's a better phrase for it that's just slipping my mind right now. I'm not going to claim to be like the biggest fan of this stuff, but I recognize a few of the band names, and definitely the soundtrack was awesome. The stuff they played, and that Wigwam song, that opening theme song, incredible. Like that's my jam now. So they hit on an awesome opening track.
I got a complaint.
Watched that opening so many times.
It's very
I
good.
have a complaint.
It's very good.
I don't like that Cheetos advertised in this show.
Cheetos?
Yeah. I don't like that Cheetos was advertised in the show.
Was Cheetos advertised?
Did you not watch?
It was Judo Master.
Judo Master had a
yeah.
fucking bag of Cheetos every fucking time, and he had that orange shit all over his fucking hands. Fuck Cheetos.
Why? What's wrong with Cheetos?
Oh, they're so gross. Ugh.
What? I love Cheetos.
Well,
you work in a high school with kids sucking down flaming hot Cheetos going, why does my stomach hurt? I don't know, idiot.
No, I'm an adult that can eat a reasonable amount of Cheetos.
Brock, if that's your complaint, I'd say that's a pretty good report card for a show overall.
You guys were trying, like you said,
I know.
complained about something, so it's like, I didn't like the Cheetos.
I'm excited for what they can do for season 2. My fear is it's just too jokey. Again, this was I'm just not going to go on about Guardians 2 every time we talk about James Gunn, but I want it to feel similar in tone, but I want them to do their own thing, add some new characters. I would love if they could bring in some of like the oddball characters they were referencing during the show, like bring on Matter Eater Lad as like the sidekick, and that would
Ryan's
be
wet
I
dreams.
would be in heaven.
My fear with that and Batmite and all of that is I don't want it to become Peacemaker's a guest star in his own show.
No, and they didn't do that in this.
No, they did not. I'm worried if you start top loading it with too many other DC characters.
Sure. No, I don't. I would not expect that to happen. I think Gunn's done a good job in all his movies. He's between Guardians and the Squad, he's had to have a huge cast. And I think the characters, and this too, it was a big group of supporting characters. I don't feel like anyone really got shorted in screen time in any of his projects. Even Guardians 2, my problems with it were not it was more the tone and the jokes, not the handling of characters. Like no one disappeared for 3/4 of the movie, and everyone in this show got their time. So, if they add, they took out a couple characters, so obviously a couple characters will not be back. So if they added one or two more, that'd be cool. But very good show.
Yeah, I think that the potential is there, right? Like I really enjoyed kind of the brutal honesty in the show. So the scene where Vigilante goes into basically kind of, he wants to kill Peacemaker's dad, and then he sits down and he starts rambling off like, so I want to talk about, how influential black music is on rock and roll and all this stuff. Just right there in their face, just like, and you're just sitting there going, oh God, watching racist squirm is just so much fun.
Well, Peacemaker was my turning Vigilante into Deadpool. I'm not sure if I like this. That was my one concern, my one actual real concern, but it was fine. It's not the comic version. But
no, they make him a good.
He's great.
They make him his own kind of. His own person. He's consistent in who he is as a character. Mm-hmm. Now, is his character ridiculous? Yeah. Is his character smart in some ways and not smart in others? Yeah. But overall, I think the character, at first I was kind of like, what the hell is this? But Vigilante grows on you
oh no, I thought he was wonderful. I know they said there's another Suicide Squad show in the works. To the best of my knowledge, of no official announcement. I was trying to think who from the movie would make sense to actually do a show on.
This is where you get. This is where you don't have the movie people. This is where you actually have the Suicide Squad. So they have a brand new squad from Belle Reve go on a mission and. You don't know who's going to survive by the end of the season.
Well, I think it is supposed to be someone from the show, someone from the movie is supposed to
it's Weasel,
get their
right?
own show.
Weasel comes back.
I mean, I have my. Give me a Captain Boomerang show, no question asked. Give me a Captain Boomerang show. I would love Ratcatcher if she got her. She was great. Yeah, she's one of my favorite parts of Suicide Squad. I would love if they do something more, her, I don't know, exploring her past or whatever. I don't know. I feel like they wouldn't go into Rick Flag, do a flashback with him. I don't know. He's fine, but he's the straight guy. He's not supposed to be, the oddball, interesting character. They're not going to do Harley. They're not going to do King Shark.
Come on, all they have to do is do a Weasel show where Weasel just crosses a road somewhere and release it on April 1st. So it's only
2-minute episode.
Exactly.
No, they're gonna do the how Big Bang Theory did the Life of Sheldon, right? They're gonna do the Life of Polka Dot Man.
Young Polka Dot Man.
Young Polka Dot Man. So you see how overbearing his mother is.
Peacemaker season 2 coming soon. We'll talk about.
Well, we first got to get through the Guardians 3 before there's a Peacemaker 2.
Yeah, because they're filming.
They're filming right? now. Yeah.
So that's got to be next year. Right?
Yeah.
Do they have a date?
Next year.
Yeah. We'll see. Guardians 3. That's it though. Right?
We got a couple other things to watch on.
I just mean James Gunn in a James Gunn sense. That's all
Yeah. I think he said he's going to write and direct every episode too of season 2 because he had to step back on a couple episodes on this because he was working on Guardians if I remember.
I think what he said is Guardians is his last film for a while. He's going to go into TV.
Yeah, and this is it. As far as I know, Guardians 3 is it for Guardians. I again, I'm paraphrasing here. I saw some comment this is kind of it for the characters. I can't imagine they're gonna dump Rocket and Groot for too long. They're too popular. But Marvel seems to do 3 and out, so that's fine. They got
to transition to the new Avengers, young Avengers. New Avengers.
Yeah, I think by the time Guardians 3 comes out, we will have a pretty clear path forward of what the new line of MCU.
Yeah, you will get Nova after that, but it won't be the Nova we want.
I don't know. I would love to do more
Kid Nova.
Kid Nova is the Nova I want. That's Kid Nova.
You don't want Rich Rider?
That is Rich Rider.
No,
Kid Nova?
No.
Brown costume.
No, the other one.
I think Brock means the one from the Champions.
I know, but his name is Nova. Kid Nova. Kid Nova is Rich Rider. That's it.
As much as I could sit back and enjoy Peacemaker because I have no like loyalty or any connection or anything with any of those characters, and so I could just like experience it as its own thing and absolutely loved going on the ride. Unfortunately, Guardians 3 is going to be a different story, but we'll deal with that in 2023. Stay tuned, listeners. We'll come back to that at the time.
Adam Warlock. See,
all right.
You can joke around Adam Warlock, but if Adam Warlock's like dropping one-liners and zingers,
dude,
like
please don't even say it. Please, it's like it's got to be the straight man of the.
Adam Warlock is like the stoic, stone-faced, just rock, serious character, and you can have Rocket making fun of him, like that's totally fine.
Yes,
right. Like I don't care about that, but like. Yeah, I was a little bit weird though. The gold faced, I forget what they were called in Guardians 2. Like they goofed them up quite a bit.
Yes.
Yeah, that was my fear. It's like,
well, I think that was playing on the whole religious like it's like a cult, right? It's like it was adding to that. Like I didn't like my characters was like okay, like it's getting excessive now, but yeah, I think that was to play up on like the cult mentality.
Okay, they gave Ben Browder a job, so
yep. So we'll see.
We've got time.
That's it. Yep.
That may be one I actually have to watch the trailer for, just because I need to know going in if I need to smuggle alcohol into the theater.
Hey, wait,
to numb myself. Yes.
What are you talking about? You always watch trailers for James Gunn movies. Because they're fucking amazing trailers.
Yeah, to watch after the fact. They're amazing trailers to enjoy when you've seen the movie and you don't need to be spoiled.
Oh, so many Adam Warlock jokes. Oh.
Yeah. You just
I just want to be in the theater for the Kevin Sharp disappointment shot.
What if it's great? What if it's great? I hope it's great. Like
he's walking out sober, or he's walking out dead.
But Guardians 2, say what you want about it, but they didn't like mess up. The Ego character wasn't turned into like a lame joke character.
Yeah.
I mean, he was nothing like the comics, but he wasn't stupid.
For that 2 seconds he was. For the 2 seconds he was.
Glorious seconds, yep.
The best 2 seconds in the movie. Oh, God. Imagine if we just had that for an hour and 45 minutes.
Just literally Ego talking as a planet.
Ego, the living planet. Just
no other action, just him monologuing for the whole time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just the planet. All right. Planet talking about him sowing the wild oats instead of.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Wow.
Nah, you gotta make your human-like character. I understand.
How did we get here?
But now I'm just having fun going. What they really should have done is done the whole like Mystery Science Theater thing with the commentary and just have Ego the Living Planet commentary on the entire movie.
Hey.
Release the Leanne cut.
Yeah.
Charlie,
superimpose
that could just be a feature, Charlie, on the Marvel discs. Is like you turn on the Ego commentary track and he just like appears down in the corner of the movie.
They just replace every scene. Every scene with a giant planet. Just throw baseball to his dad. This giant planet.
We're way off topic now.
Anyway, thank you for listening to the wonderful episode of the ComicsPro podcast. Yes. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you enjoyed Peacemaker. And next week should be an old Batman extravaganza. We'll see. Rented a theater for wonderful employees and friends. So see if I stay awake and take that adult nap. 3-hour movie at 9:45 at night. Boy, that is 9:30 at night. That is that's a gamble. That's a gamble. We'll see if I make it.
The students kind of want us to
all have the Toby experience, where we all fall asleep for different parts of the movie, and then have to talk about like, okay, what parts did you see?
We piece it together. Well, so I'm smart. I told Toby the movie starts at 8:30, not 9:30. So he'll get to the theater when we're getting ready to go in, because it's Toby and he'll be an hour late. So I figure we'll get him at the right time.
He's normally good on movies.
No, he'll walk in at the last second, so he'll be hanging out for a few minutes waiting to go in.
But your strategy might backfire because he will be caffeinated and ready to go at 8:30, and then he'll think
pass out at 9:45.
He'll think like I got to be ready 8:30 to 11:30, basically. So then you're going to lose him for the back end.
Well, you remember you got like half an hour of trailers beforehand or something like that. We're not going to start till 9 o'clock.
We're starting at 10 o'clock, baby.
Clearing out of there at midnight. So, yeah, that's gonna be a long night. Anyway, midnight. What am I talking about? Yeah, 10 o'clock. We're gonna get out of there at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Are you still recording?
I'll be still recording.
Okay.
Yes, of course. Thank you all for listening to the ComicsPro podcast. We'll be on next week to talk about Batman. Thank you to our top tier backers, Joe Duff, Kelsey May, Craig Anderson at ClearPathCoaches.com, Jimmy Rivera at the Social Forum Podcast, and Talon Bray. Please check out ComicConspiracyPodcast.com and Apple Podcasts and wherever else you get your podcast episodes. For all our previous episodes, head over to patreon.com/ComicConspiracy. Kick us a couple bucks. Always appreciated. And you can go to Comics Conspiracy. That's comics with an S. ComicsConspiracy.biz. Our ComiXology, Jesus Christ. Our Comic Hub storefront where you can purchase all sorts of books from us for delivery or pickup. Always great. Lots of good stuff on there. ConspiratorBrock.com. Brock's blogs, video pull lists, unboxing videos, and other stuff when he gets the time. Those will go up there. Bookmark and check it out occasionally. Wanders in the Fourth Dimension podcast. Charlie's Doctor Who podcast. Monthly episodes now. There's no new episodes. Oh, how you good? You guys do a Gallifrey 1 episode? Anyone down there?
No, we didn't have anybody at the actual con. We may have talked a little bit about some stuff that came out of the con, but...
Okay. It's the yearly Doctor Who con. I'd like to go to that sometime. That'd be fun.
I definitely want to make it back to that one. Just have it.
Yeah, you used to go a bunch.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a good con.
Yeah. And don't miss the weekly code for it.
Except for the fact that people always look at me like, why aren't you in full cosplay?
The Captain Jack costume. Don't forget to check out the weekly interview series Between the Panels at fanbasepress.com. That's Kevin Sharp's weekly interview series with creators big and small. Wonderful interviews on there every week. And my wife Leanne is over at leannehill.com. You can check out her artwork at etsy.com/shop/leannehillart. Pick up some prints or commissions on there. Go on Twitter and harass all of us. Ryan Higgins, Ryan is me. Brock is Brock Sager. Toby is Toby XI. Charlie is Insanity and Chaos. Kevin is that Kevin Sharp. The store is Comics Con Store. And check out Geekbox. I assume it's going to be all Elden Ring next week. Oh boy, what a game. And Manga Machinations.
What, nobody's talking Horizon Forbidden West?
Man, Horizon, they get effed every time. Horizon got overshadowed by Breath of the Wild, and now Horizon's getting overshadowed by Elden Ring. They just can't catch a break.
God, the game is so good. Oh,
that's it. We're going to stop this recording now and move on and talk about other stuff
next week
off air. And next week we'll talk about Batman. That's all I got. Goodbye.